Yeah, why wouldn't?
24 was Subcircuit 6.
Oh, there was an accident.
Have you been listening?
That's right.
Yes.
We're ready. Molly, are you ready? Donna, ready?
Call the school committee meeting of May 16th, 2016 to order. Let's do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And a moment of silence. Thank you. The listing of matters are those reasonably anticipated by the chair, which may be discussed at the meeting. Not all items listed may in fact be discussed, and other items not listed may also be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by law. Please note, this meeting is being videotaped for cable. I'd like to start with nominations for the chairperson of the school committee.
I would like to nominate Molly Smith for chairperson of the school committee.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
No?
I'm sure there is. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Molly Smith is the new chair of the school committee.
I would just like to say one quick little word. Thank you to the committee for allowing me to represent the school committee for the past 2 years. And I know Molly is going to do a fantastic job. And I thank you for stepping up to the chairperson. And we're here to support you. And I just appreciate all your help. So thank you.
I feel honored. With that, I would like to entertain a motion for a vice chairperson.
That would be you making it.
Oh, I would like to make a motion then to nominate Bill Flynn as vice chairperson.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
No?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And could I hear a motion for the position of clerk?
I'd like to make a motion to nominate Donna Hume to the position of clerk.
Do I have a second?
Second?
Okay, it's been motioned and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Excellent.
Aye.
Thank you, Donna. Thank you, Bill. The next order of business is for subcommittee appointments. And Sue so kindly has done some work in reaching out and discussing with different individuals. And so right now our finance and capital budget representative is Mr. Jim Holden. And it's my understanding, Mr. Holden, you would like to continue to be the finance and capital budget?
Say that again, I'm sorry?
Would you,
Finance and capital budget.
would you like
You'd
to
like
still
me to
be
stay as there?
I would.
Yes, I
would.
will.
Okay. And can we go through all of these and then vote for them all at the end? Is that appropriate?
Perfect.
Okay. So for personnel and negotiations, right now Mr. Holden and Mr. Flynn are representatives on those subcommittees.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to continue to stay?
Yes.
Sure.
And primary education materials, Mrs. Sullivan, you have done a great job reviewing our materials. Would you like to continue reviewing our materials?
I would
for us?
love to. Thank you.
Okay. And safe school representatives, Mrs. Sullivan and myself are on those committees, and I would like to remain on that committee.
Yes.
Mr. Wilson.
We would.
Okay. And donations and dedications, Mrs. Hume, have been responsible for that. Would you like to continue?
Sure.
And our sick bank representative, Mr. Flynn.
Yes.
Okay. And our school building liaison, Mr. Holden. Would you-
Yes.
Okay. So I would like to entertain a motion to accept all of these appointments as discussed.
Move.
Second?
Okay. It's been motioned and seconded. Any discussion on the subcommittee appointments?
No.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you.
Great.
So we have the annual appointment of Dr. Oakley to Project Contemporary Competitiveness. And I would like someone to make a motion to appoint Dr. Oakley to serve as a member on the board of Project Contemporary Competitiveness, Inc. for the 2016-2017 fiscal school year.
Moved.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, excellent. The annual appointment to the North River Collaborative. I'd like to entertain a motion for the appointment of Dr. Oakley to the 2016-17 North River Collaborative Superintendent's Advisory Board.
Moved.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Excellent. So I'd like to make a motion, or I'd like to entertain the motion of an appointment of Mrs. Sullivan to the 2016-2017 North River Collaborative Board of Directors.
Moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Any discussion? I would just like to say I want to thank Sue for taking on this appointment. It's a great collaborative that we work very closely with, and I think you're going to bring a lot to the table at this Board of Directors meetings. And again, I'm not going anywhere, so if you need anything, please let me know. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Molly.
So now we have the annual vote for appointments to the Reads Collaborative, and I'd like to entertain a motion that pursuant to Chapter 40, so we have to do this pursuant to Chapter 40, Section 40, as amended by Chapter 43 of the Acts of 2012, that members of the Board of Directors at Reads Collaborative are to be appointed annually. So I would like to entertain a motion for Dr. Patricia W. Oakley to be appointed to serve as the West Bridgewater Public Schools representative on the Board of Directors of Reads Collaborative in accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 40, Section 4E, as amended by Chapter 43 of the Acts of 2012 for the 2016-2017 fiscal school year. Do I have a motion?
Moved.
Excellent.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Excellent.
Aye.
So now we're on to our regular meeting, and I would just like to welcome our student representative, Bella. And this is her last day of her senior year, so I really appreciate you coming here and being our representative today. It's almost like you're almost an alumni with us tonight, so it's very special for you to be here. So the approval of the minutes from the April 4th, 2016 school committee meeting.
Moved?
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. And first topic are recognitions for the middle senior high school drama production of Little Shop of Horrors.
I'll have Mr. Bodwell speak to it if you'd like, but I can speak to it a little bit I went to it and they did a really, really great job. And let me tell you, the sound in this new auditorium was unbelievable, and it really just made everything great. Like the kids' voices were great. What used to happen in the old auditorium is you'd hear the music and their singing voices would be muffled because didn't have the right mics, didn't have the right sound system, but you could hear everything, and they did such a great job. It's a fun musical to do anyway, and you could tell the kids were having a great time, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was great. So.
Right. I mean, the use of the stage was amazing. The lighting was awesome. The changing of the different colors. They had a lot of fun. They worked really hard, but it was just another amazing performance. And it was just, like Dr. Oka said, enhanced by the building. So kudos to them and all their hard work.
It's excellent. It's great. They've worked really hard for many years, so it's nice to put it all together and give them the opportunity to really shine like they should. Excellent. Thank you. Superintendent's update.
The school building committee update. Well, a couple things. Today, for the seniors' last day, we had the dedication of the time capsule that the Heritage Committee, which Mr. Nanopoulos started, and there were a number of students, past graduates, and a number of seniors and one junior that is still on it, that worked for the past 3 years. Once we had decided that we were building a new middle senior high school, they did a history DVD. They took pictures of the old school that are going to be going up in the retro room. They also helped with the idea of the history wall, and one of the other culminating activities was the time capsule. And they did the dedication this morning. Some of you were there out in front of the school. So you'll see the plaque and the stone that's there for it. They gave directions today that they want it to be opened in 25 years, and to put some of the things on display and then collect more things and put it back for another 25 years in the same place. So, and they went through a very lengthy, thorough list of things that they put in from the beginning of that school building, and actually kind of the ending of the Howard High School, some things that tied to the beginning of the former building we had, all the way up to things from the class of 2016. So it was actually kind of a neat thing, and although it seems like a long way away, we know how quickly 25 years can go by. But I think that was kind of exciting to finally get that done. Also, you can see that there's a lot of work being done on the field area, and they brought in some trees and shrubs today. They paved the track. They don't have the finish coat on the track. That's not going to happen until later in the year. But they paved that so you can see it. They put the logo on the middle of the artificial turf field. The fence company started last Friday putting up the ornamental fence, finishing the ornamental fence. And the last thing we have left really is we're headed to the planning board meeting this Wednesday on the 18th for them to approve the architect's final plans for the concession stand and bathrooms, the bleachers, and the lights. So once that's done, we'll be able to go out to bid, and we're hoping that we can go out right away to bid and that someone will pick up the project, because the goal really is to be ready for that fall season for field hockey and football and soccer for the fall season. And side note, Mr. Barrett and I picked a day for the rededication of the Dwyer Field, and that will be Saturday, September 24th. It's actually the second home game, but just in case things run a little late, I didn't want to book the first. So, and then the next one after that isn't until the end of October. So we decided that we'll probably call that homecoming. Dedicate the Dwyer Field, rededicate the Dwyer Field, and the Chucky Tartaglia scoreboard, which you actually see up there. And there'll be hopefully a lot going on that day, and people will come back for that dedication. I did speak to Nancy Emord. She was married to Bobby Dwyer. They were high school sweethearts here and got married, and both worked here when he was here, and he actually passed away of pancreatic cancer. And she is really looking forward to it and called me because she wants her sons, who live in different parts of the country, to be able to come out for the rededication and to tell his whole family. So it will be nice to have them all back here for that. And I think that's it. It's been a long time, but I think we're finally coming to the end of this, we hope, project. But we have a great building, and we're going to have a great facility with the fields too, so that's good.
That's great. Thank you.
So the year-end school improvement councils meeting from May 4th.
We had the year-end school improvement councils meeting with some school committee members, and had each building principal present their school improvement plan, kind of in a abridged edition as far as the goals that they accomplished this past year, the goals that they're looking forward to do for next year, and then showing off some of the great things that are going on in the schools. And that, I think everyone can agree, was the best part of the evening. And having the kids come at each grade level or age level and present things, from the high school kids making their own guitars and doing, you know, a news show through the TV media, down to the fourth graders showing how they do Calm Classroom and what they like about Calm Classroom, and the elementary kids, the first graders, reading their essays for their career day competition, and talking about different projects that they did with black holes and things like that. So I think what's neat about that meeting is that you have, you know, preschool and kindergarten parents and kids seeing all the great things that the high school does, and they're in awe from that, but also the high school folks saying, wow, second graders are doing that, and it's just a real great celebration of all the things they're doing. It's nice to have the West Bridgewater kids come and shine for that night, and so it's a nice evening. And so out of that tonight, you'll be voting on the building the school improvement plans. So that's it for that.
And the fiscal 2017 budget update?
Yeah. The budget update is that the FinCom, I believe, is still working on balancing the different budgets, but the town administrator has recommended to the selectmen and to the finance committee a cut to our budget, but we had put in a 4.5% budget in order to do basically the same things that we're doing this year, with a couple additions due to some mostly regulations, like special education, fulfilling IEPs, some class size things at the middle senior high school in foreign language, and some other things, but there really weren't a lot of additions. No. And that was 4.5%. He is recommending, after looking at what he thinks the income will be from the town and through Chapter 70 money, a 4.3% increase. So it's lower than what we had put in to make sure that we can run things appropriately, but it's not a huge cut. So we will find the area to cut that dollar amount. And hopefully the finance committee and selectmen will agree, and then when we go to the town meeting, usually if the selectmen and the finance committee agree, usually the town people at the meeting pass it. So it really depends if the finance committee agrees to it. I do know that one thing that they did cut was the school resource officer that we had put in for. I told them we'd be back. And I think one of the things that we did this year was Mr. Bodwell presented why we should have a school resource officer to the selectmen, and you know, said all the things that a school resource officer would do, and showed what schools and districts have a school resource officer and which ones don't. And actually, in September, we'll be the only district on the South Shore that won't have a school resource officer. But we didn't present actually directly to the finance committee, and we need to do that next year. But I think in addition to just what a school resource officer could do is, I'm actually going to ask Mr. Bodwell and Mrs. Page and the other principals to kind of compile the data of, okay, how many times do we have to call the police in for something? Mm-hmm. How many times do we have to get information from the police about things going on? You know, we either have to call them in for an incident, or we need information So we have to call the stations, such as the whole shooting thing that took place, you know, a week ago near Cumberland Farms. We heard the helicopter and stuff, but we had no idea what was going on. The police were busy, but if we had a school resource officer, they would have got it radioed to them, and we would have known right away. Every time we have to call an officer in for something, we're taking them off the street. If we have a restraining order on someone or a parent or something like that, we get that information from the police, but if something ever happened, we'd have to, again, call the police and take them off the street. So I think we need to show them how we would have used it this year, instead of just saying, oh, it would be nice to have this because they could do this, but not because they could do this, but we need them to do this. So I think we just need to show them what the need truly is, and also don't just go to the selectmen, but also go to the finance committee. So I know the police support it because they actually put it in their budget. That's where they cut it out of. We told them we'd be back. My gut feeling is that in the next several years, it's probably going to be mandated by the state anyway, that every district has it, but it would be better off, I think, to be proactive than reactive. So we'll go back.
Yeah,
So that was cut.
I think it's hard for the general community to see the need, because it's not something that you can, the school nor the police department can share exactly what they're doing. In a lot of these incidences, they're very sensitive issues that are confidential. So, but I do believe going to the finance committee will help. And like you said, in a couple of years, this isn't going to be a choice, but I'd rather, since the need is there, hopefully get it going sooner rather than later.
And I think, too, you know, I had one of the finance committee members say to me, like, well, you're saying the schools aren't safe. And I said, no, and the police aren't safe. We're not saying the schools aren't safe. There's so many other things, though, that they can do. We do have incidents that we have to call the police for. It doesn't mean the school's not safe. It means that there's one situation that we need police help with. But also, you know, all those other schools that have had incidents and school shootings and those things, I'm sure they thought their schools were safe too. Every school is safe until something happens, you know, so, but to have someone that's dedicated to the schools can keep us up on all the safety information and can be there right away. And I know that they're not that far away, but you still have to call them and take them from something else that they're doing. So, you know, it's something that the Safe Schools Committee has talked about for a long time. We made the proposal this year. We'll keep making the proposal, and hopefully there'll be a time when they won't have to cut it. You know, maybe there'll be a lot of free cash or something one year, and they won't be able to cut it. But, and I don't believe they disagree with the idea of it or the philosophy behind it. It's just they're looking at the numbers, and they, you know, I just think our Safe School Committee and the administrators, we believe that we don't want to put one in because something happens.
Right.
Again, to be proactive is better, because maybe something will never happen if we have one in place. You don't know, but you don't want to take the chances. So that's the budget.
All right. Moving on to business. Our first order of business is the 2016-2017 school calendar that we've all...
Yeah, we gave you the school calendar last time. Asked you to take a look at it. I know we did get some input of a few things that might have been typos or errors or something like that, which is good, because it's hard when it's just Jody and I looking at it constantly, and there's so much information on the calendar that you don't always see things. So we did make those changes, and again, the the main things are the start date, which will be before Labor Day because of the policy that we have. The Christmas break, vacation there, and giving them whatever days, like a full day before. And when graduation is, because you have to count back. It can't be more than 12 days from the last scheduled day of school.
Okay. I'd like to entertain a motion to accept the 2016-2017 school calendar as presented.
Moved. Second.
Any moved and seconded? Any discussion? Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. I like the, I think we commented last month too, the new setup on the calendar is wonderful.
Format, yeah.
The format.
Format's great.
Easier to read.
Mhm.
Much more user-friendly.
Yeah, not as busy.
The community will appreciate that.
Yeah.
So now on to the approval of the 2016-2017 school improvement plans. I know Dr. Oakley spoke on this earlier.
Yeah, so I know you have the school improvement plans. If you have any questions for the principals, Mrs. Spencer was out sick today, but Mr. Botwell and Mrs. Galea are here this evening if you have any questions. If you don't have any questions, then I would just recommend that you vote on them as approving them for next year. And you really need to vote on each one individually.
I don't have any questions at this time, but I will say, to add on to what Dr. Oakley said about the presentations the night, it seems like each year there's something new and exciting going on in each of the grade levels that I think, wow, this is, how can we get better than this? But we do. But the thing that's consistent year after year is that the dedication of the students that show up, the parents that show up with their students so that they can present, and then the teachers' dedication to their students is evident. And I'll just share one example. There was a little glitch in one of the presentations, and Mrs. Green was able to, as an impromptu, just talk to her students, and her students didn't skip a beat, and they started answering questions. And so as much as technology is something that we saw all across all the grades is being utilized and enhanced, they are also very diverse and can do it all. They're really care about each other. You can tell from the administration down to the youngest students that everyone is really dedicated to one another, and they're doing a lot of problem solving and quick thinking, and it's impressive. And that year after year, it's always impressive. So, thank you.
I'd just like to add too is a special thanks out to Emery Grinder for the food service. The dinner was amazing.
Yeah, she does a great job.
She did a great
The
job.
whole food service, I mean, they just go over and above for everything we ask them to do.
It was a great night. So,
Does anyone have any questions on any of the plans? So with that, I would like to entertain a motion to approve the middle senior high school improvement plan.
moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, great, thank you. I'll entertain a motion to approve the Howard School Improvement Plan.
Moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
So, thank you. I would like to entertain a motion to approve the Roselle McDonald School Improvement Plan.
Moved. Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Excellent.
Aye.
And I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the Spring Street School Improvement Plan.
Moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Great, thank you. Thank you to the principals and all your committees that worked so hard on those too. The superintendent's evaluation.
Oh, it's that fun time of the year again.
I thought we were skipping that this year.
Oh, you should.
Isn't there a budget problem with that this year?
Well, under the new evaluation tool that all educators in Massachusetts have to follow, but the administrators have to be evaluated yearly. Teachers that have professional status are every 2 years, but administrators have to be yearly. So that's why you have to do this again. So what I have for you is similar. It was several years ago we put together the format. I think it was actually Mrs. Smith that helped me put it together to try to make it as user-friendly as possible, because when we first got it and looked at it, it was a little overwhelming and a very, very big change from how we did the evaluation process before. So I think we've refined it over the years, and it has gotten easier to use. So with that said, we have the evaluation piece, the rubrics, and the indicators for this year that I had to work on. And you can see that there, the one that I did is highlighted, and then I listed the evidence underneath. And if there's something that says, that's in parentheses, says C agendas or C schedule, that will be in a folder in the office if you want to see that. But most of the stuff I just wrote out. So under every single one of them, there's something written that shows you the evidence that I have of implementing that element. The other big piece is I had 4 goals this year, and so I wrote feedback, a self-evaluation of the 4 goals, so I'll give you that also. And then as far as timeline and filling out the forms that you have to fill out, which I'm assuming were the forms that they have to fill out in the packet? No, not yet. Okay.
You get an email.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, as far as the schedule, that would be Mrs. Smith.
No, so, yeah, so, thank you, Dr. Oakley, for preparing all of this information. So our goal as a committee is to evaluate Dr. Oakley and present our findings to her at our next school committee meeting. So to make that happen, I wanted to see if we could set up some kind of deadlines from now until then. So we'll email to the sheet to coincide to compile the information. And if possible, if you can put it right on that electronic copy and email it back to me, that would be great. Or you can just hand it to me if you want to handwrite it. I will accept handwritten ones also. Do you think we would be able to fill those out by May 31st? It's the Tuesday after, so it gives you 2 weeks and a day. It's giving you can have Memorial Day off. So that would give you 2 weeks to go through this and get the evaluation back to me. Does that sound
That's fine.
reasonable to the committee?
That works for me.
Okay, excellent.
She's the new boss, so.
Right, cracking the whip.
Yeah, she's the new boss.
Wow.
All right, May 30th. Get it back to me on Memorial Day. No, I'm just kidding. And then we also need to set up a meeting, an additional meeting to then kind of discuss and come back together. And I was hoping that people may be available on Monday night, June 6th at 7 p.m.
Perfect.
So,
What time?
7 p.m. on,
6 at 7 p.m.?
you know, it's a Monday night, and we could meet over at the Spring Street School. And so it will be an open meeting to start, and then we'll, our main agenda item is going to be to go into executive session to discuss personnel.
Perfect.
Okay, great. And so that will get us ready to come back and do, so this item, the superintendent's evaluation, will be on the June 13th agenda, and that will be the night that we present to you, Dr. Oakley.
Great.
All right, great. And if you guys have any questions while you're completing it, let me know. All right, so next order of business, exchange programs. Mr. Bodwell.
Before Mrs. Pistrino does her presentation, I just want to commend her on all she's done through the Global Citizens Program, through our exchange program with Costa Rica, Skyping with nations all over the world, and most recently, we've had 43 students here from China that she's arranged, host families and, school buddies, and it's just been amazing. Plus having the teachers and the people from Boston Wise with her in her office area, just does an outstanding job working with these. and it really enriches the experiences of all of our kids and our staff.
Absolutely.
So we're very pleased at all she's done, and looking forward to more opportunities to kind of expand the educational horizons of our kids. So,
Hello.
Hi.
I know you know about our Costa Rica program we had with students, and I would very much like to provide our French students with the same type of program. So as a teacher, I know that works at Falmouth High School. She's done this for 9 years with the Lycée Impéré in Lyon, France. So she's going next year, and she invited us to go along with her, and that's something that I would like to present to you, and I'm seeking your approval of. So this is a student-to-student, family-to-family, school-to-school exchange, same thing we had with the school in Costa Rica. Our students appeared with a brother or sister in Lyon, France. They get to know each other via email, Skype, Google Hangout. The families also get to know each other. The French students would come here first. They're looking to come here October 16th through 26th. They're actually coming on the 13th of October to go to New York City. They'll spend a couple days there and then come here and would stay with the students in Falmouth. And I'm hoping to have 5 students from West Bridgewater High the first time we do this that would host French students here. And then our students, along with Falmouth, we would go with them April 8th through the 21st. That's April vacation, and a couple of days before that, we would go there. The students would stay with French families in Lyon. Oops. And where is Lyon? There it is. Southeast of France there. It's only an hour from the Alps, which is a side trip the students could take to actually see the Alps, and it would include a trip to Paris on a weekend to see some of the things that they read about in their books, the Louvre, the Eiffel Tower, Notre Dame, boat ride on the Seine, all those things. Staying in Lyon, they're only, like I said, an hour away from the Alps, so that would be a side trip, and they're an hour and a half from Nice. That's a possible trip for them to see too, so they'd see quite a bit. This is the school here. It is very impressive, a very old building. Something that I read said it's 500 years old. I don't know, but it is absolutely beautiful. It's hard to predict the entire cost right now. This teacher that has been doing this is her 10th year, says she thinks it would be approximately $2,000. That's for 2 weeks in France. The Europe trips that we have run $3,400, so because you're staying with families, it's a lot less money. That would cover their airfare back and forth, all the side trips that they do, the weekend in Paris, all of that. And students would only need $200 to $400 more for spending money if they were to buy souvenirs. Depends how much they like to shop. Who would benefit from this program? We're really hoping our French students will go to take everything that they're learning in class and make it real and tangible, real-world experience using the language and getting inside the culture, not going to France as an outside tourist, but to actually be immersed in with families, get a real cultural experience. What is it like to be a student in a French school system? To help them grow as global citizens, to widen their perspective of the world. It also looks great on college applications that they've had this type of a global experience. It tends to set many students apart from others, their travel experience and what they learn from it. They'll make connections with things they learn in history, World War I, World War II, connections with art, music. Possible activities in the U.S., they are really into Halloween for some reason and want to go to Salem. But that would be a weekend trip, plus we'd take them into Boston, same type of things we did for the kids from Costa Rica. In France, tourism in Paris, as I mentioned, trips in and around Lyon, the Alps. One of the things this teacher was telling me is the families that they stay with will often take kids on a weekend for a special trip. And she was saying, oh yeah, they'll take them to Italy or they'll take them to Switzerland. I said, what? But because they're so close, that's something that our students could benefit from to get even more out of it, see other countries as well. Timeline, if this is approved, I would like to have a parent meeting as soon as possible to explain it to families and to recruit students. hopefully to get a down payment by the June 1st to make a reservation for airlines, match students as soon as possible so they can get to start meeting each other and talking. Mid-late to September, have the parents in to talk to them about what it's like to host an international student. And are there any questions about the French program?
What age students are you?
High school, like 9 through 11th grade.
So the current ninth graders?
Yes.
And what age are the students from?
I'm not exactly sure. They're high school students. I am imagining they're about the same, ranging the same age.
And do you already have, I know you said you haven't had a meeting of any
No.
sort, but do you have an interest that you've seen in the students? I
Yes,
mean, what
when I
prompted
talk
you to do this?
in my French classes, we already have a school in France that we talk with, send projects back and forth. They're very interested. They would like to go, but I need approval first before I can
Right,
talk
good
it out.
point.
Right?
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And do you see any concerns with pairing with Falmouth just because of our proximity to Falmouth from here?
No, I
mean,
don't. I think that if we do a big tour type of thing, we could meet them in Boston or wherever they're going. I'm looking to get 5 kids. I think that's very manageable.
Very easy to move.
We could do
move
some
them.
things on our own. We could do some things with them.
So who's the service that we'd be using? The tour service
No,
or?
we do it all ourselves. Like I
yourself?
did with Costa Rica. Yeah, that's part of the reason it keeps the cost down.
Okay.
It's exciting.
Do you want to go on to the next one, or do you want to?
Oh, well, there's more than one.
Well, the Costa Rica one too, I
Oh,
wanted to speak
okay.
about for next year, for the Spanish students,
Are we looking for approval for the Costa Rica one, or I thought
For
just
both.
France?
for both.
Going for both next year?
Oh.
That's what the timeline was. So do you want to hear about the Costa Rica one first, and then go back and talk
Let's
about
deal
each
with-
one?
If we can vote on both at once, sure. Molly?
Well, I mean, you'd have to separate them out, obviously, but you can vote from it. So do you want to talk about this one and vote, or do you want to move on to the Costa Rica?
Do we have
I-
any more discussion about France?
Well, I think, actually, I'd like to keep them separate if we could,
Yeah.
just because I guess I was ready to hear about Costa Rica. I wasn't ready to hear about France, but that's okay. This is exciting. Oui. But and it sounds like it's in the very, obviously,
Yes.
pre-planning stages, so I just don't feel like I have a lot of knowledge about it, but I also have faith that you have a lot of knowledge about it, and you've done a lot of research. So I guess, are we prepared to make a decision?
The
so
area that you're taking them to in France, back in the mid-'70s, I was there for 2 months in a little town called Annemasse, which is right on the Swiss border. You won't be far from where I was. And they're absolutely correct. You can go to Switzerland, you can go to Italy in a matter of no time at all. It's a great area. It's all farmland and rural. It's just beautiful, beautiful country.
I had this video I wanted to show you so you could see exactly where the kids would be. I couldn't upload it, but it looks absolutely beautiful.
It is.
And it's a completely different culture and setting. They'll know they're not in the United States, and they'll be immersed in this beautiful culture and the rich history. I'm excited for them.
Geneva is a very, very clean city if you do get to go there with the students. They'll love it.
I think one of the positives too is that this is being done with teachers now who've done this for now 10 years. So there's an established routine that they follow.
So is there a minimum number that we need to have? I know you said you'd like 5.
Yes, she has 15 students.
15?
And
Okay.
she wants 20 to go. The French are sending 20 here.
Okay.
So she was saying we'd be limited to 5. I'd be happy to get 5. You know, the first time you do something, people aren't
Okay.
too sure about it. And, I think it's reasonable that I could recruit 5 students to go on this.
And then you travel with them also?
Yes, yep. Yeah, what I would like to do is include a history teacher as well. I'll talk about
Okay.
that in the Costa Rica thing to widen it. Costa Rica would be Spanish science. This one would be French history. There's a World War II resistance museum there, I guess, which is full of incredible things our students could explore about World War II and the resistance movement. So it'd be great to have our history teacher to really unpack it for them.
Okay.
And if you don't get the 5, do
We
you
could
need them
still, no, I don't
No.
think we have to have 5. I mean, that's the goal, to have 20 kids. They have 15. If I could get 5, that would be 20. If I had 3, yeah, we could still join them.
The trip would still move on?
Yes, yep.
Regardless, they're still going with their
Yes,
15?
Yeah, they
Okay.
are.
And
Okay.
I think 20.
if you had more, would you take older students first and then give the other ones?
Probably, because hopefully I could do this every other year or every year, depending on interest.
Okay. So would someone like to make a motion to approve the foreign, what are we calling this? I'm sorry, give me a
French exchange?
French exchange, thank you, to move forward with planning. Is that what we're,
Make a motion to move forward with the trip as discussed to France, and this is in 2017?
Yes, they would
Next
come here
April,
this
yeah.
October, and we would go there next April.
Okay, so it'll be 2018 for us to go there?
I'm
No,
sorry,
no,
it's
17.
16,
Okay,
17.
okay, good.
And then
16, 17, as we've been told,
in collaboration with Falmouth?
Yes.
in collaboration,
Yes,
yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
we would be going with Falmouth High School.
Excellent.
okay, do I have a second?
Second.
All right, any further discussion about the French exchange?
No.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Excellent, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so let's go to Costa Rica
Okay.
now.
So this is for a Spanish student, giving them real-world experience with what they're learning. These are pictures of our kids last year with their Costa Rican brothers and sisters. This was at a hot spring in outside of San Ramon, Costa Rica. So what we're looking to do is this year, the Costa Rican students would come here in December. They want to come right after Christmas. They would be here through New Year's into the beginning part of January. And then our students would go there as soon as school ends next June. So a couple of things that they would do. Of course, see the volcano and the hot springs that are a result of the volcano. We went last year and it was absolutely amazing, but I couldn't help but think that they went into some pretty amazing places, and I'm not sure they got everything out of it that they could have. So that's why I thought this year to bring along a science teacher. Like, they zip-lined through a forest, but did they see the sloths? Did they see the exotic birds? I felt like if we brought a science teacher and just focused a little bit more on that, they could still zip-line through the cloud forest, but not miss the amazing things that are there. So the science teacher, when we go to visit it, would be able to prepare them beforehand so they could really understand what they're looking at and appreciate it even more. So the volcano and hot springs would be one of the first things that they got to see. And the cloud forest, they would zip line through, but even beyond that, they would get to, she's going to prepare for them these type of challenges that they do as teams to find certain species of plants and animals also while they're in the cloud forest. One of the weekends we're going to be there, they're going to have to choose between a couple of different things that we could do. So here are the options. This first one, the National Park in Cano Island, is supposed to be the most biologically diverse place on the planet. Next slide. And that's where it is, down in that peninsula there in the Pacific Ocean. And they would get to kayak a little bit through the many rivers and just open their eyes and see the beauty that's around them there. Some of the animals like the sloths and the parrots and the toucans in their natural habitats. The science teacher was saying they can go to a zoo and see some of these things, but to really see them in their natural habitats is a completely different experience. And they would do some snorkeling on the island that's there. And this is another option. This is one of the last dry forests that are left in the world. The kids could get to see that too as well. And she said her first choice was the forest that you just saw before that, and this would be second choice. They would still get to see some pretty exotic animals. These are more larger types of mammals. But what's really cool about this dry forest here is that they have volunteer opportunities that we could arrange for the kids. So they could plant mangroves, or there would be some type of thing where they get to take part in conservation and preservation. And that's some of the animals that there. This one here is another option for them, where it's a guided walk from the highest point all the way down, 7,220 feet down to 11,000 down to 7,000 feet that they would hike down. And while they're hiking, again, they would have objectives to complete, to look for things, discover things. She's talking about helping them see how the ecosystem changes as they go down in altitude. And there's some pictures of it there. The kids would do some hiking. And those were her science concepts for these weekend tours. They would have team challenges, understand the principles of adaptation and habitat characteristics, the diverse habitats, mango swamps, tropical forests, rainforests, and even over and above that, lending a hand and giving back and being involved in some type of a volunteer project. San Jose, they're in the capital. They have this gold museum the kids could get to go see, where they see a lot of the gold that's and the artifacts that are left over from the indigenous people that live there. And she could also bring science into that and talk about purifying and creating jewelry. And this is a coffee tour. Last time we went on a coffee tour, and I thought, oh, that would be nice because coffee's important in Costa Rica. But it was amazing, and the kids loved it. It was really hands-on. It took a couple of hours. They brought them out into the fields. They brought them to like a recreation of a coffee plantation owner's home. They got to chop wood and make coffee from beans, an old-fashioned grinding system. Kids loved it, and it was a great experience. So in addition to all these tours, of course, they go to school. So half the time they would shadow their brothers and sisters in school, see what life is like going to school in Costa Rica in a different country, and then other days they would see the culture and be immersed in it. The cost for this trip is approximately $1,200. That's what it cost us last year, about $550 for the airline, and then for all these different tours, ground transportation, etc., it was about another $550.
So the science teacher that you spoke of, that would be someone from West Bridgewater.
Yes.
Okay.
So it'd be a Spanish teacher and a science teacher for this.
Okay.
So it's the same thing we did, just to develop it a little more, to include science.
Yeah, those are wonderful opportunities.
So would you open it up to kids that aren't in Spanish classes?
A lot of people ask me that, and one of my biggest hesitancies is that some of the homes that they would be staying in, the people don't speak a lot of English, and I just have some hesitancy putting a student in there if they're sick or uncomfortable and not being able to express it.
So what's it's 9 through 11 as well?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So, any questions or?
So I understand the distinction between this and the French exchange is because we're collaborating or pairing up with Falmouth. But on this, is this something that we should try to get, I guess, more specific interest? And if we have the numbers for interest, this is kind of where we left off last year or this year, earlier this year?
Right. So
where there wasn't enough interest?
Right. We had 3 kids. I remember you were there for the meeting when we talked about it. Right now we have 14 kids.
That have
How did that happen? Yeah, just talking about the trip. You encouraged us to continue to talk about it. And right now I
Exactly.
have 14 kids that really want to go on this.
Is it something that you could, I guess, do the same process that you did before where you have a mandatory parent meeting
Oh, absolutely, yes. Yeah.
before we do the approval, though, just so that we're not approving something and then the interest just dies off? Or then we could ask, I think, more specific questions such as the number of families that we're able to match them up. I'm just a little hesitant given, I guess, the unknown if we have the interest because we've already gone through this. It's a little different than France because France we're pairing up with Falmouth, so we're kind of riding on their coattails. But on this, we're starting to do an exchange that if we don't have the numbers, how are we going to be able to reciprocate if we don't know that now?
Right. I do have 14 kids that have turned in applications to me that they want to go on this, and they knew that I was presenting this tonight.
Okay.
And
Oh,
if-
I
if
didn't know
you-
that they turned in apps.
Yes.
Oh, good.
If you
Okay.
approve it, then I would publicize it even more and have a parent meeting and
Okay.
explain it even more
Oh,
fully.
oh, I thought you just said that, I thought you meant that the kids just
And I wanna
said
go.
that they were
Oh,
interested.
No, I know. They want to go. Do their parents want them to go?
Right.
Okay,
Um,
okay.
So then I could have a parent meeting in May and hopefully even recruit a few more kids to go.
What would you be
and
looking
answer
at
all
for
the
number?
parents. Under 20.
Okay.
And we make all the arrangements ourselves like we did last year. It helps to keep the costs down.
Okay.
Then we can get the kids paired up before school's over. Kids can work during the summer, knowing that they're going to do something like this to help raise some money for themselves to do these trips.
So then wouldn't the concern again kind of rise again to the concern of the Zika virus and where it's the public health, where it's at level, what, 2? Dr. Oakley? Is it at level 2 out of 3? Or,
Yeah, I forget what, yeah.
I mean, that's
Still at 2, same
Yeah,
level.
it hasn't-
it's still the same?
Nothing's really changed much in that respect. And I think
I mean,
a
it's-
lot of the reason why the last trip didn't successfully go anywhere is
Was the
because there
interest.
was so much conversation on the news and just worldwide about the Zika virus that, you know, it just discouraged a lot of people within town. I thought you were gonna have a lot more people show up at that parents' night, but,
Yeah, there was 3. I mean,
Yeah.
and
yeah,
Those
so
14 applications you got had.
I think it's gonna be different this
Yes,
time
yeah.
around
Later.
entirely.
That's something that we'll always continue to monitor, as with any trip, you know, right up until that day. The safety of the students is always number one
Right.
priority. So
Absolutely.
we'll continue to monitor that as we go forward.
okay,
And certainly,
I think we should go for it.
the committee.
okay.
Okay, so,
Someone else's turn.
would anyone like to make a motion to approve the Costa Rica trip as
I'm losing my
presented
voice.
for the 2016-2017 school year?
Moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right. Any further discussion? Thank you for all your presentation and keep us posted. So,
Yeah.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Excellent, thank you. Oh, I was just enjoying myself. I guess I have to talk
You're
again.
working.
Yeah, I know, I forgot. My apologies. So now we have the approval of policies. Policy 3200, staff responsibilities. Mr. Flynn.
Yes, I'd like to thank Mr. Bodwell and Mrs. Page for their help with this. There was really just one minor change in section 7, number 3. We added Chromebooks in to the care of school property, and everything else was right. So again, so thank you to Mr. Bodwell and Mrs. Page for their help on that. So I would like to make a motion to accept the change in the policy and moving forward.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Excellent. The policy 8300, wellness policy, Mrs. Hume.
Yes, I worked with Anne Marie Grinder and Julie Amaral on this one. And in your packet, you should have a copy of the policy with the proposed changes, as well as a document that outlines the sections that we changed. There were 3. In section 3, in the wellness committee, was just a minor change to list that the committee operates as a subcommittee of the strategic planning committee rather than a part of the strategic planning. So that was just a minor change. But section 6 and 7, establishing nutritional standards for all foods available on school campus during the school day, and setting goals for other school-based activities designed to promote student and staff wellness were rewritten. So those were completely revamped. If anyone has any questions.
No,
That's great.
no.
All right, so I'd like to make a motion to approve school wellness policy number 8300 as presented.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions or further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Great, thank you. That's a lot of great work there.
There's-
And
A lot
then
of work.
policy 5580 and 5580 as the internet use for staff and students is my policy. And I have reviewed it with Mr. Collins and Mr. Bodwell and the principals, but our computer teacher on the elementary level has recently gone to a seminar, and there are some changes, so I would like to postpone this policy for a month so that we could include what she's recently learned at that conference and not wait for another year for it, so
Absolutely.
that one's going to be on next month's agenda. So assignments of policies, we have policy 7500, the school property use policy. I know Mr. Holden worked on this at one point, or Mr. Flynn,
Mr.
did you?
Flynn and Mr. Holden
Worked on this last
worked
year
on this a year ago
Duo.
with Mrs. Smith.
with
Yeah.
Mrs. Smith, who kicked in
And
at the last minute.
Have we had the
No, she
opportunity?
kicked in very well. At the time, I thought we discussed, and I believe that's why it's coming up again, that we
we'd
would look
review
at it
it.
again in a year based on field uses especially, not so much the building.
Yeah. I've had a little pushback on the fee schedule, so I
You
would
have?
love to revisit.
Is that why I see some of them crossed out in here?
Not crossed out, just
Okay, well then,
So would you guys?
I think we'd like to try it again.
Okay, excellent.
And
Okay.
maybe with Mrs. Smith, we can raise or lower the fees,
Okay. So thank you, Mr. Holden.
preferably raise.
Thank you, Mr. Holden and
And
Mr. Flynn,
also,
for
I
reviewing that
think-
again.
Well, we need to really look at the
Need to
football
really
field.
look at the fields,
definitely,
The two fields.
Yeah.
Well,
all fields.
I
all
guess,
fields.
Tennis courts,
Yeah, but-
everything.
Tennis courts, everything.
Yeah.
the baseball field, we're gonna need some more input. The football field, wow, it's actually a all-sports field.
And I haven't rented it yet, so
We really have to look at that hard, especially now where there's gonna be so much more involved. Because I've already gotten some comments from different organizations about why we're not gonna have, quote-unquote, the concession stand open 24/7. So,
and I had a meeting with YA, so.
yeah, we can put all our thoughts together. Great, thank you.
Thank you, guys. We don't have any warrants this evening to approve, so it is now time for our public forum. Members of the audience wishing to address the committee may do so at this time. Audience members are reminded that personnel issues or issues that would violate student confidentiality cannot be addressed during the public forum. I do not see any takers this evening.
That's good on your first night.
Thank you.
Plan something different, huh?
So,
Oh, we better think about
you
that next
guys are
time.
so sweet
Should
to
at
me.
least paid somebody to be here.
I know.
So our, one of our most exciting events of the year is coming up, as Bella well knows, on May 27th, our class of 2016 graduation at 6 p.m. at Town Park. On May 30th, Memorial Day, no school. On June 1st, half day of school for all schools, and there's no PM preschool. On June 1st, we have our very own Dr. Oakley is a celebrity judge at the Pizza Palooza for the WB Youth Football Association.
I don't know, but all I had to hear was pizza, and I said, so I will be one of the people picking
Sure you're
the
not.
best pizza
Are you
in
sure
West
they're
Bridgewater.
not tossing it at you instead of you testing it?
No, I'm gonna run like 5 miles that morning, so I can eat more.
I think it's official. We can say Dr. Oakley does it all, as she's our celebrity judge for Pizza Palooza from 5 to 7 p.m. at St. Anne's Church. So thank you so much, and I can't wait to hear who has the best pizza in West Bridgewater. And at the middle senior high school, from May 17th to the 20th, we have senior exams. May 17th and 18th, grade 8 will be taking the math park. On May oh, sorry, grade 10 will be taking Math Park. Sorry, grade 8 students out there. May 19th and 20th, grade 8 science MCAS. On May 23rd, we have honors
Oh,
breakfast.
no, it's,
It's a
yeah, the grade 10
MCAS.
takes the MCAS, they don't take the park. So that's just,
Don't worry,
So it's
that guy
switched.
went out at 6:30 tonight to know that.
Yeah.
Excellent. So it's grade 10.
grade 10 math,
Math,
MCAS,
MCAS,
grade 8
grade 8
science.
science
Science, park.
park. Okay. Well, they'll take whatever test you put in front of them, I'm sure.
Whatever you call it.
They might not know what it is either.
Doesn't matter what you
Okay.
call it.
Two of math.
The state of Massachusetts is trying to figure out what it is on top of it. On May 23rd, we have honors breakfast from 7:30 to 10:30. The middle school, actually, the high school starts at 7:45 a.m. and the middle school starts at 9:15 a.m.
And then high school again first, so the seniors can go to graduation.
Excellent. And they'll both be in the cafeteria and the auditorium. And on May 24th, the senior reception at Taunton Holiday Inn from 5 to 9 p.m. On May 25th, the senior awards night from 5 to 9 p.m. in the gym. And May 26th, grade 8 field trip to the Franklin Park Zoo.
Is the senior awards night in the gym
In
or
the
the?
gym?
I hope not.
Auditorium.
Oh, yeah. Oh, good. I was really looking forward to
Yeah.
our first senior awards in padded chairs.
I know.
The athletic awards will be in the gym. Okay. I did
Okay,
notice
but-
that because I'm going to bring my cushion for the athletic awards. But for senior awards night, we'll be in the auditorium, that's
Yeah.
very
Because
exciting.
I was like,
Yeah, I will not bring the seat cushion that night.
and it won't take from 5 to 9.
No. You have a lot of money to give out.
That's great. We'll be doing a lot of clapping. Okay, so on May 31st, the athletic awards from 6 to 9 p.m. in the gym. On June 6th, grade 9 biology MCAS. On June 10th, the middle school semi-formal from 7 to 9 p.m. in the gym. And June 15th, grade 7 field trip to the Brockton Rocks. On June 16th, the grade 8 field trip to Canopy Lake Park. On June 17th, grade 8 recognition ceremony from 11:30 to 2 in the new courtyard. And June 20th, grade 8 breakfast at 8 a.m.
What's the
And-
grade 8 breakfast?
That's just
Is that
kind of
new?
a going away breakfast. We've done it the last couple of years. It just, pitch in and bring it to
Mr. Flynn, will you do Howard School?
Sure.
Thank you.
At the Howard School, May 16th through the 18th, grade 6, Math Park. May 17th, school council meeting at 2:45 p.m. in the conference room. May 18th and 19th, grade 5, Science MCAS. May 18th and 19th, PTO-sponsored Map Maker for grade 4 at 9:30 a.m. and 10:30 a.m. May 20th through the 24th, grade 4, ELA Park. May 24th through the 27th, grade 5, Math Park. May 24th, Celebrate the Arts from 5:30 to 7:30. May 25th, the PTO-sponsored Rock Detectives for grade 4 in the gym. May 25th, Dare Graduate, get it out, graduation at 1 p.m. in the gym. June 1st, Pride Assembly at 8:30 a.m. in the gym. June 1st, the spring concert rehearsal in the gym at 9:15 a.m. On June 2nd, PTO-sponsored grade 4 field trip to Moose Hill Wild Sanctuary in Sharon. June 7th, Miss Winter's Ice Cream Social with the Senior Center at 10:30 a.m. June 8th, spring concert at 6 p.m. in the Middle Senior High School. June 9th, grade 5 field trip to the Museum of Science. June 14th, grade 4 field day beginning at 10:30 a.m. The rain date will be on June 15th. June 15th, grade 5 field day beginning at 10:30 a.m. No rain date. Oh, it's too bad.
But not rain.
June 16th, grade 6 celebration day. Rain date is on June 17th.
Do we know a time that starts for grade 6, anyone?
No.
Okay.
Find out
Move on,
tomorrow.
sorry.
I think. Mrs. Hume, will you do Roselle? And
Sure. On May 17th through the 20th, grade 3 Math Park. May 24th through the 26th, grade 3 ELA Park. On May 27th, first grade career day in the cafeteria at 9 o'clock, and the parents are invited. May 31st, the kindergarten students will visit the Roselle McDonald School at 9:15 a.m. June 2nd, grade 1 is going on a field trip to Southwick Zoo in Mendon. June 3rd is Kite Day for grade 2 at 9 a.m. June 8th, the author Michael Glazier for grade 1 is taking place at 9 a.m. And June 8th, the PTO sponsored Helen Keller for grade 2 at 9 a.m. And June 8th, PTO sponsored Clara Barton for grade 3 at 10:45. June 10th, grade 1 sing-along at 8:45 a.m. Parents are invited. And at the Spring Street School, May 19th, school council meeting at 2:45 in the teacher's room. May 31st, kindergarten students visit RLM at 9:15. June 3rd is the marriage of Q and U.
Best day of the year.
It is so cute. June 9th, 10th, and 13th is the pre-K end-of-year celebrations.
Great. So our next meeting date is on Monday, June 13th, and note that we'll be starting at 6 o'clock for an early start time. We'll do the budget hearing, and then there's the town meeting following that meeting that evening.
Is that in the gym? Town
Oh,
meeting?
I don't know.
The town meeting in the gym?
That's all right.
The gym's bigger though.
I don't know what they're gonna wanna do.
They'll let us know.
Comfy chairs, please. Molly only has one cushion.
I know, one cushion. Saving it for athletics night. Would anyone like to make a motion to adjourn?
Moved.
Second?
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Yay.
Great job, Molly. Excellent.